Hey everybody, welcome to Fantasy R&R. This is your host Ryan, and this is our Fantasy Football Week 6 preview.
This is Fantasy with Rob and Ryan, Fantasy R&R.
Unfortunately, Rob will not be able to join us again, but he did give me some players to mention during this podcast, so let's get started with Thursday Night Football.
Buccaneers at Eagles.
All right, I'm actually going to take Zach Ertz here. I hate this guy. I think I've mentioned it on the podcast like a year ago over and over again to Rob. I really just want him to move out of the way and Dallas Goedert to be the man there, and that hasn't been happening. But Goddard does have himself a predicament by landing on the COVID list this week, so we're not going to see him around there. With Jalen Hurts probably struggling against the Buccaneers front four, being chased all day. He's might take a few sacks and start scrambling. I think he's going to look to Zach Ertz over and over again to fill that void when he needs a dump-off pass. Zach Ertz, your time has come. Get back in the lineups.
Dolphins at Jaguars.
You know what? I think Tua is going to find his stride here. He will come back, I think. It looks like he's trending in that direction. The Jaguars defense has been terrible against the pass. Tua is going to look to get his confidence back and get back in a groove, and I think this is a great game to do it up against the Jaguars. Rob is willing to trust Myles Gaskin in this one. I know he's been off a rough start this season, and it seems knee-jerk just because he had a big game last week, but I think with Tua coming back, we're going to see the offense of the Dolphins start to mesh against a very, very suspect Jaguars defense, and it's time to get these guys in your lineups. This is Rob's game of the week. He thinks it's actually going to be a lot closer than some would realize, and it's going to be Tua against Trevor in a generational young quarterback matchup.
Chargers at Ravens.
God, I don't know what's going on. They keep playing around here, but I think Rashad Batman, I think he will play in this game. That's the word here. And this is going to be a big thing for the Ravens because Hollywood Brown got off to a rough start last week, finished strong in that exciting win against the Colts. But I think if Bateman is on the field today, Lamar's going to immediately look to him as a down-the-field burner threat. And this guy can make some incredible one-handed catches. This is what I'm hoping to see Rashad Bateman as a breakout fantasy performance.
Vikings at Panthers.
Okay, Matt Rule is saying that Christian McCaffrey is 50-50 to play. I kind of saw this coming, and to be honest, I don't think he's going to suit up. But I'm going to say if he does, that's the guy I'm taking in this matchup. Christian McCaffrey would be probably the most explosive piece of the offense on the Panthers against the Vikings defense as soon as he comes back. I don't think that Chuba would be involved as much as everyone's saying. And Matt Rule loves to lie about Christian McCaffrey and his injuries and his role on the offense. So let's get that out of the way. Christian McCaffrey, if you're back and you play, this is going to be it. A lot of speculation right now with these picks.
Packers at Bears.
I'm thinking maybe A.J. Dillon repeats this again. Week 4 against Pittsburgh, he actually carried the ball 15 times for 81 yards, had 10 points of fantasy with, 1 reception, 16 yards, no TDs. But this last game against Cincinnati, carries the ball 8 times, 30 yards, and 4 receptions for 49 yards and a touchdown. He's starting to be utilized more and more. And this is very interesting because if everybody remembers, the one prediction I made at the beginning of the season was that you were going to see a lot less 20-point performances from Aaron Jones than you're used to in the past. And so far, we've been right. Week 1, 3.2 points. Week 2 was his breakout with 38 points. Week 3, 16 points. Week 4, 9 points. Week 5, 14 points. So while Aaron Jones is still touching the ball and generating, he's not the dominant fantasy guy we remember from the last couple of years, and A.J. Dillon might be coming to split the work here soon.
Bengals at Lions.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm actually probably taking the Bengals D for this game. There's so many low-hanging fruits for the Bengals offense right now, but I think it's the Bengals D that's going to be the surprise stream of the week and get people maybe upwards of 10 fantasy points for their defense. Jared Goff's just been playing awful. 4 turnovers in the last 2 games. Didn't even put up a touchdown in this last game against Minnesota. He will be home in Detroit if that makes any difference. But I think the Bengals are coming strong. Their offense is going to push the pace. The Lions' defense is going to get tired, and then their offense is going to come out to a fresh Bengals defense and just get ripped apart. So watch the Bengals as a sneaky play this week.
Texans at Colts.
This game sucks. Don't look too much into what Davis Mills did against the Patriots last time. It's going to be a real one-off, and we saw Carson Wentz almost start off hot against the Ravens, but he still looked like Wentz, to be quite honest. There was just a lot of inconsistencies. They go to Pittman early. They get away from him. Jonathan Taylor breaks out early. They get away from him. I don't know what it is about the Colts offense, but I don't trust it. I mean, you might as well just be going with Mo Alley Cox for this one. But what I'm just going to say is Wentz has got to go. We're not going to see a whole lot of fantasy consistency until they have someone better under center. And the Texans are an afterthought. For someone with Brandon Cooks, I guess you got a good deal there still so far. You can use him as a flex too. But other than that, this is a garbage pile.
Rams at Giants.
Hey, you got to hand it to Rob. He called this Kadarius Toney thing the week before it happened. Toney, who is a rookie out of Florida, got a little bit of flack from some people as being, kind of undersized or just not a hard worker in practice and had some trouble with the playbook. Well, it looks like it's the same story as what me and Rob did not agree with on Justin Herbert last year. Kadarius Toney looks like he's here to play. And going up against a Rams defense, this is going to be difficult. Who knows who Jalen Ramsey's going to be covering this one. But we're talking about a guy who just came off 2 10-plus point fantasy performances. This last one, 10 receptions for 189 yards. Even carried the ball for 7 yards at one point during the game. So obviously, this is his breakout, and we're going to have to see if he can keep that up. Rob thinks so, and I kind of agree with him, which is why I'm not giving a pick on this game.
Chiefs at Washington football team.
So I loved the Washington defense at the beginning of the year, but Mahomes is going to torch these guys. This has just been absolutely insane. It's been upwards of 300-400 yards given up in every single game, in every facet. Not really getting a whole lot of sacks like we thought they would. Their performance against Buffalo was expected. But, up against teams like Atlanta, New Orleans, where their offenses are real predictable, I think they really fell short of everybody's expectations this year. So Mahomes is going to cut through their questionable secondary, which was already questionable. We thought the front was way better than the secondary. Mahomes is going to torch them. So it's going to be a Mahomes day. You're going to see your 5 touchdowns. Obviously, you keep Mahomes in your lineup every week, but there are some people who have to speculate, do they go Mahomes, or if there's a backup on their bench like Herbert, who are they taking this week? So Mahomes, he's going to be the QB1 for you.
Cardinals at Browns.
I think Rondale Moore strikes again in this one. I know he's been quiet for a couple of weeks, but he came off that big game, 114 yards and a TD. This last game here, pretty respectable. Got 5 receptions for 59 yards, and he actually ripped off a couple of runs for 38 total. So Rondale Moore is obviously a dual threat in this offense, and I think he could be a sneaky play here. This is a time where if you've been holding on to him, you stashed him, or you drafted him in a rookie dynasty, get him in your lineups against the Browns. The Browns have just been kind of that up and down team, and I think they'll be looking to Rondale Moore as a sneaky target and a sneaky strategy in this game.
Raiders at Broncos.
Okay, let's forget about the fantasy players in this one. Regardless of Bridgewater, Drew Lock, who gives a shit at this point? Cortland Sutton's looking pretty good, but I'm just going to say Dan Snyder wins this one. We saw John Gruden come out with that email scandal, and now Adam Schefter's taking shots fired, and they're talking about Bruce Allen, and Dan Snyder's just kind of sitting in the back wiping the sweat off his forehead right now. All attention has been diverted away from him, even though these emails are part of an investigation into the culture of Washington at the time that Dan Snyder was accused of these cheerleader allegations. So, Dan, whatever you're doing to stay out of the public scrutiny for the last 5 years, keep it up, because you've got everybody completely fucking hypnotized.
Cowboys at Patriots.
Mac Jones might surprise here. I know everybody think, the Cowboys are leading the league in takeaways. There's, a couple of interceptions in every game. Well, look who they're playing. Guys like Daniel Jones and a couple of young quarterbacks, second-year guys. Mac Jones is the same way. He's coming in as a rookie, so of course we expect to see those kind of mistakes, but they're 31st in passing yards allowed. If you don't think Mac Jones could find this game as his time to break out and throw for 300 yards, I don't know what to tell you. I think he's going to surprise some people. Not a whole lot of weapons on the Patriots, but you don't need a whole lot of weapons when you're playing the Cowboys defense. In no way am I saying the Patriots are a lock to win or that Mac Jones can put up 3 or 4 touchdowns. I'm just saying he's going to put up a very healthy, respectable stat line. So if you've got other guys that you're not sure of right now, like Matt Ryan or Tannehill, I think Mac Jones could be a great streaming option this week.
Seahawks at Steelers.
Najee. I just keep saying it. I just keep going with it. He was very slumpy at the beginning of the season, and then we called his breakout game, and we said he's going to have another one, and then we said he's going to have another one. I'm doing it again. I don't think he's slowing down. This is now your RB1 or RB2. Najee Harris, stay in the lineups. He's not a flex anymore. He's an every game start, and he's doing this with a very bad offensive line and a Ben Roethlisberger that's looking old. Geno Smith is going to be in for the Seahawks. Make of that what you will. I think the ball is going to be in the Steelers' hands a lot, and they're going to have to grind out the clock, and Najee's just going to be getting the ball left and right as the main weapon on their offense. This guy rocks.
Bills at Titans.
All right, the Monday Night Football matchup, Bills and Titans. This is my game of the week. Not just because it's Monday night. Josh Allen's been on a tear. The Bills' defense has been on a tear. Derrick Henry's been on a tear. So let's see what the Bills' defense can do up against Henry. They're going to have to be ground out for a long time to get tired enough for the Titans to overtake this game with the offense they've had. And by no means do I think the Titans are going to win this. I just think this is going to be a very close game, much like what we saw with like the Colts and the Ravens at the end there, where that turned into kind of a spectacular show. I think this is going to be the same thing, even though the Titans side of the ball isn't quite as sexy. Rob is here for it. He thinks A.J. Brown is coming back to break out. We've all seen the disappointment that is A.J. Brown and his owners this year. He's banged up in one game against the Jets. He got only 3 receptions for 38 yards against Jacksonville, which was surprising. He hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1, where he only caught 4 for 49 anyway. A.J. Brown is going to get going again. We're going to see it happen. That's what Rob's saying. I think the Bills could be Super Bowl contenders at this point, obviously. I said it to one of my coworkers at the beginning of the year, and I still have my questions, but everybody knew they were probably going to be taking that division. But I think at this point, it's a very high likelihood that the Bills will be in the Super Bowl and win it. So that's where we're going with this. A.J. Brown's your breakout player. This is my game of the week, and the Bills, they're probably going to be in the Super Bowl. And that's going to do it for our Week 6 preview. Once again, this is Ryan with Fantasy R&R. Me and Rob will see you next time.